What's up everybody, Ninth Jim here, back with another VGC 2020 Pokemon Sword and Shield competitive video. Today we're talking about Galarian Mr. Mime, the Ice Psychic type from the new gen, and we do have single spotlight at the end of the video if you want to jump along. In timestamps, we have that in the description below, of course. Anyway, let's get into it. So Galarian Mr. Mime, the Ice Psychic type Pokemon, we are using the unevolved form Pokemon today because it gets bulkier with Eviolite than if we just evolved it. It also has way higher speed, and we're using this as a more fast Pokemon. We're using it fast with Icy Wind, which is pretty good. It also has access to Trick Room to reset Trick Room, and other than that, this Pokemon is actually just pretty solid in general. It has some cute little niche things that you might want to use with it, and some pretty solid synergies. This Pokemon could definitely fit on your team pretty well. So yeah, jumping into it. So resistances to Ice and Psychic, it's fine, you know, it's Ice Psychic type, it makes sense. A lot of weaknesses, however: Fire, Bug, Rock, Ghost, Dark, Steel, all are pretty relevant in the game. Pretty unfortunate typing, honestly. Ice Psychic kind of sucks. We have Eviolite to keep us a little bit alive. You can definitely opt to use Focus Sash as well if you find out you still just get O-Code from everything. Definitely swap that out and use Focus Sash. And but yeah, Eviolite in a lot of calcs that I've had, you do just die even through Eviolite, so Focus Sash is definitely something you can use. However, a lot of one-time resistance things will 2 to 3 shot you, and if we can live some from 3 shots, then we're looking pretty good, honestly, with Eviolite access. So yeah, that's why we're using Eviolite. You can definitely swap out Focus Sash though, I wouldn't blame you. Anyway, you can also use Choice Scarf too, which is how we use it in singles. However, it's not as needed in doubles, but it's still like an option. Into our stats, so speed, we have 100, which is actually really good base speed. With some investments in Timid Nature, we actually outspeed a lot of really relevant things, and we don't have to max invest into speed because the last couple of points just don't do anything for us. So yeah, that's why we have it speed at this speed tier. You can definitely invest like 1 more point if you want to outspeed the things that we're on the same speed tier as. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the future in the speed tier section. As far as our bulk goes, we're at HP 50, which is not great, defense 65, which is not great, but special defense 90 is not bad. And then we also have 1.5 times on both of the defense and special defense because of Eviolite. And we max invest into HP to try and remedy that a little bit as well. And we're not the bulkiest, but we're not bad bulk in general, which is pretty good. 65 attack matters for Fake Out, but you don't need it. We are 6 IV since we have Fake Out, so if you want to breed this Pokemon and want to use Fake Out, you might want to do 6 IV. If not, then it's, you know, it's only a little bit of HP on Fake Out, but it still could matter sometimes. And special attack 90 is also pretty good for Freeze Dry, Icy Wind. It's pretty good. And then just our spread moves in general, because we have a lot of moves right up there that we may want to flex in. It's up to you. This build, actually, this Pokemon has a lot of really good moves, so you can definitely mess around with the move pool a lot and see what you actually like the most. Anyway, into our actual build now. So Eviolite item and Screen Cleaner ability. The Screen Cleaner ability is pretty good. It's set whenever it enters battle, it removes all effects of Light Screen, Reflect, or Veil for both Pokemon. So that's really good and bad. So we can't use a Grimmsnarl with this team unless you don't bring Galarian Mr. Mime or Grimmsnarl, but I wouldn't do that. It's very anti-synergetic. However, it is good for a lot of your Pokemon that get OHKOs through, or can't get the OHKO through screens. Things like Excadrill into Grimmsnarl, it lives a max Steel Spike through Reflect. However, if you get rid of that, then you just kill it, and it's really good. Which is good. However, you can't open with that because they won't have any screens when you open, and then you can't switch out. So it's kind of weird. It comes in some niche scenarios. However, Screen Cleaner is good mid to late game, especially against a light clay Grimmsnarl, since that would be, the screens would be up for 8 turns. You knock out the Grimmsnarl, and then later you come in with Screen Cleaner and then just sweep the rest of their team up. It's pretty good. A lot of calcs with Reflect and Light Screen are to live, so with the Light Screen or Reflect, so they will die without it a lot of the time, which is pretty good. And onto our moveset. So we have Fake Out, Freeze Dry, Icy Wind, Trick Room. We have Trick Room just to counteract Trick Room. Since this Pokemon is fast, it has good speed control with Icy Wind, and if you use other forms of speed control on your team, things like Max Airstream or Tailwind, you can really reset that Trick Room so that this Pokemon can be a good out to Trick Room. However, without focus. So like Focus Sash, you'll live one attack, but if they double in, you'll die. And then Eviolite, if you double in, they'll probably still kill you. So it's, you know, Eviolite and Focus Sash serve a very similar purpose, so you can definitely flex them out and see which works the best. I've said that enough times now. Trick Room is really good for counteracting Trick Room. We have Fake Out, which is just Fake Out. You know, it's pretty good. It's really good against things like Whimsicott, being able to stop their Prankster thing and then double in and get the kill. Or even something like Heat Wave that double targets and then still would get the kill is pretty good. Fake Out works really well with that. Then we also have Freeze Dry, which is super effective against water as well, which is good. Things like Dracovish, Milotic. It's good it's 4 times against Gyarados. It just is very strong against Gyarados. We have that in one of our damage calcs. It's actually our only offensive damage calc, which is interesting. And then we also have Icy Wind as a form of speed control. This Pokemon is pretty solid since it's such a high speed tier. We can put Icy Wind on it, and then you have a fast Icy Wind user. It's a really good synergy with Dracovish being able to, you can Tailwind. If Tailwind doesn't work, or you are after your Tailwind turns, you can do a couple of fast Icy Winds against mid speed tier or above average speed tier Pokemon, and Icy Wind will bring it down under, especially if you're running Scarf Dracovish. You'll be able to outspeed a lot of things with Vicious Rend and then start doing a lot of damage. Although I believe Dracovish with Choice Scarf will outspeed your Galarian Mr. Mime, but maybe Choice Band, I don't know. It's just a working core, you know, something you can try out. This Pokemon's pretty interesting. And into our flex moves, so we have Psychic, Ice Shard, Focus Blast, and Dazzling Gleam for damaging moves. We also have access to Shadow Ball. A lot of really good moves, not stab, that are good spread. Actually, Psychic is stab. A lot of good spread moves that you can put on this Pokemon. Definitely if you want to try Choice Scarf, then this Pokemon can work pretty well with that. We have a lot of moves for it. Choice Scarf is how we're playing it in singles, hint hint. At the end of the video, we'll talk about our single spotlight for it, but still. Focus Blast is pretty good against a lot of Steel-type Pokemon. Things like Duraludon and Excadrill is pretty solid against, and yeah, it's pretty good. Dazzling Gleam, multi-targeting, pretty solid. Psychic, Stab, Ice Shard priority. And then we also have a lot of good support moves, things like excuse me, things like Ally Switch, which is just very solid in general, just being able to switch out, especially with priority. If you use it with a Pokemon that has resistances and immunities, it's obviously better. And then we also have Helping Hand, which is just pretty solid in general, being able to make your Pokemon really, really strong. It's also priority. We have Thunder Wave and Taunt, just good solid moves on a fairly fast Pokemon. You can hit a lot of things. Don't do things over your speed tier. Know your speed tiers. We're at 163 with this spread. Things like Whimsicott outspeed us still, and Taunt is not going to be priority anyway, so you can taunt it, but it won't happen until next turn, or they won't fall for taunt until the next turn, or though they will that turn, but they will go before us, so it won't be utilized to the fullest. And yeah, that's about it for our moves. So then into our stats, we have HP max invested into hitting us 157, which is pretty solid. And then we also have 28 into our special attack. This is just because you didn't have to pour all into speed. I'll explain it a little more in speed tiers. However, this gets us to 163, and there's nothing else that really matters for us to outspeed between our 163 and a max. So we just pour the rest into special attack. And with Timid Nature, we're plus speed minus attack. You could definitely pick something else because Fake Out, but I don't think there's anything else you would want. You don't want to sacrifice any of our other things, special attack or any defenses, so we're just going with Timid. Alright, so that's about it for the build. As far as synergetic Pokemon, so we have Dracovish, I talked about that briefly, a fast Icy Wind user to control speed a little bit so that Dracovish Vicious Rend can double pretty easily. We also have Excadrill. You can max Excadrill, and Icy Wind gives you a little bit of speed control, which Excadrill appreciates, and then Excadrill can hit max Quakes or max Steel Spikes, making your Eviolite Mr. Mime even bulkier, which it would appreciate, so that's a cute little interaction there. We also have Arcanine. I have Arcanine in almost all of my synergies just because it's such a synergetic Pokemon. It has Intimidate, it has Will-O-Wisp, it has Snarl, just to lower the damage, make everything bulkier in general, especially since we can't utilize screens with this build, which is kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. We also have Milotic here. Milotic covers a lot of our weaknesses, so there's not really anything that is weak to Galarian Mr. Mime that Milotic doesn't cover pretty well, and the other way around, Galarian Mr. Mime covers your weaknesses pretty well, especially having access to Freeze Dry, being able to take down things like Gyarados, which are pretty offensive. I don't know why I said that. That didn't really make much sense. But anyway, and then we also have Whimsicott, which can take advantage of fake tears, which Galarian Mr. Mime can do a lot of damage with Freeze Dry / Icy Wind / any move that you want to use on our flex moves. And we also have Tailwind, which is good for speed control. You can set up Tailwind, Icy Wind come in later, and really just control the speed. And with Trick Room of Galarian Mr. Mime, we can really just control the speed throughout the entire game, which is pretty good. And yeah, that's about it for those Pokemon. We have some threats. So Tyranitar Excadrill is pretty scary, especially double Rock Slide kills Galarian Mr. Mime. We also have Crunch on Tyranitar and Iron Head on the Excadrill, just being able to OHKO a lot of the time through Eviolite, which is pretty annoying. We also have Scrafty, which we can't really do much damage to by any means, and it has super effective spread against us as well with Crunch or Throat Chop. And then we also have Durant, which has super effective spread against us, which we don't really have anything against them. So you really have to have your partner pair really well with Galarian Mr. Mime. Since it's just frail, it's a lot of big threats. We also have Rhyperior that kills us before Weakness Policy, which is pretty annoying. So just across the board, a lot of weaknesses that you really have to patch up with your own teammates. So anyway, that's about it for this slide. So we're going to go on to our speed tiers here. I know we have a lot of speed tiers, so this can definitely be subject to change. However, for now, base speed, like turn 1, this is going to be how it is. So we're on the same speed as Haxorus at 163. This is positive max invested for Haxorus. However, it's positive 228 invested for Mr. Mime. I plugged it in on Calcs, and this is where we came out to 163, and same with Showdown. And so yeah, things that we outspeed is Togedemaru, Mimikyu, and max invested. Positive nature at 162. It's pretty solid. It's good to outspeed things like the Mimikyu and the Togedemaru. Other things we outspeed is max invested Arcanine at positive 252. You won't see this spread very frequently, but you will every now and again. We also have things like Pikachu, the G-Max Pikachu, that we outspeed, which is good, and Gyarados max speed, which is good. We're able to just get in there with a Freeze Dry and kill the Gyarados before it starts doing anything, which is pretty good. Or have a chance at killing. I think it's like a 50% chance or something. You'll see that in the next slide. Things that outspeed us is Charizard and Ninetales, and even if I poured the rest of my EVs into the speed, we wouldn't be able to stop this. Stop the Charizard and Ninetales from outspeeding us, which is pretty annoying. And yeah, it's pretty annoying in general. Just having Charizard and Ninetales outspeed us, since they're very threatening to us. Same with Durant, it's gonna always outspeed us and threaten us immensely. We also have Whimsicott that we can't taunt, even if it goes for an offensive move, which probably won't. But Whimsicott just outspeeding us in general is pretty annoying. And same with Cinderace up there at the very top. That OHKOs us pretty frequently as well, so that's pretty annoying as well. That's about it for my speed tiers. On to our damage calcs. So almost all my speed tier, or almost all my damage calcs are against Mr. Mime. We only have the bottom one being the Freeze Dry, killing Gyarados 43% of the 43% of the time, which is pretty annoying. It's not enough to like rely on it every time. You can get a crit or just hit that 40% and it's good, but it is less than half, so it kind of sucks. Anyway, Crunch from a Tyranitar kills us. Or we usually will live the Crunch from a Tyranitar, so if they double Rock Slide, that's their best chance of killing. Rock Slide from the Tyranitar will do 58 to 70%, and Iron Head from Excadrill will do 120 to 143%. If they double Rock Slide with the Tyranitar Excadrill, then it will knock us out. They'll both be doing 58 to 70%, a little bit more for the Excadrill most likely. And then we also have Iron Head from, so if I can't talk. So if Excadrill Iron Heads us, it kills us, like guaranteed OHKO, which is pretty annoying. And if it max Steel Spikes, if it's Life Orb, then it kills us. And if it's Focus Sash, then it probably won't kill us. Maybe? No, I think Life Orb would still kill us. That was my mic, or my headphones. I just like did that thing. Anyway. well, where was I? Durant. Dynamax, Durant, Max Steel Spike, into us, kills us, guaranteed OHKO, which is pretty annoying. And then we also have Rhyperior, Dynamax, Max Rockfall before Weakness Policy, does 150 to 180 damage, which is pretty annoying as well. So there's a lot of threats to this Pokemon, so you really, positioning is pretty key, although we do outspeed the majority of these Pokemon. However, Sandrush will outspeed us, Choice Scarf, Tyranitar will outspeed us. So that's pretty annoying across the board. And Freeze Dry into Gyarados is not super reliable knockout. So that's going to be it for damage calcs. Onto our single spotlight. This is our last slide of the day, or of this guide here. So Galarian Mr. Mime plays a pretty different role in singles. So instead of like a support, speed control, Trick Room resetter Pokemon, this Pokemon is actually really different. So it's Choice Scarf, Vital Spirit ability. Vital Spirit just gives it, it can't be asleep. The reason we're using that instead of Screen Cleaner is because we're probably using this on an Ice team as a Rapid Spinner, an aggressive Rapid Spinner. Things like the Aurora Veil Vanillix is going to be set up, so we don't want to Screen Clean our own Aurora Veil. That would just suck. Things like Galarian Darmanitan and Weavile can really take advantage of our ability to Rapid Spin away any entry hazards, which is good, allowing them to just not die to entry hazards and then just sweep, which is what we're looking for. This Pokemon has access to a good bit of moves. We're only using our regular move pool here: Freeze Drive, Focus Blast, Rapid Spin, and Trick. Focus Blast giving us really good damage against things like Snorlax and Excadrill, Duraludon, Steel-type Pokemon that would usually be very aggressive against us, very offensive to us, and threaten us immensely. So having access to Focus Blast on a Choice Scarf user is pretty good. We're max invested into speed so that we can outspeed things like the Choice Scarf Galarian Darmanitan and other Scarf users in general in the game, being able to outspeed a lot of them at 167 before Scarf, and then Scarf gives us at 1.5 times. So we're outspeeding a lot of things. Freeze Dry does a lot of damage against all water Pokemon, and just things that are weak to ice in general. Focus Blast against the steel types, normal types. Rapid Spin is pretty good for just getting rid of our hazards, which is what we're talking about. Clearing those up so that our Galarian, Darmanitan, and Weavile and Pokemon like that can just sweep through the team without worrying about it. We also have Trick for Choice Scarf, things like the Galarian Corsola and Snorlax, Corviknight, setup Pokemon that would be really hard to deal with, that we can make them just switch out and get rid of it for then. And then the rest of the game, they're just hindered in general too. So that's pretty much the idea with Galarian Mr. Mime, is just an offensive Rapid Spinner that has access to Trick on Scarf. It's pretty good. And then we're just max invested into special attack and speed and timid nature so that we're just as fast as possible. And yeah, that's about it for this whole video of Galarian Mr. Mime. This Pokemon's really sweet. I like it a lot, actually. I like it a lot more than Mr. Rhyme, the evolved form, just because of Eviolite, and it's way faster as well. You even use it without Eviolite in singles because it's faster, you know, and that's kind of what this whole build is going for, as Choice Scarf, offensive, cleaner, hazard remover, that's what it is, spinner. So that's the idea around this Pokemon in singles, and in doubles it's pretty much just speed control, pretty fast Icy Wind user that has access to Trick Room to reset Trick Room, and Freeze Dry is pretty good. Freeze Dry is a really good move. So yeah, that's about it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, thank you so much. Leave a like and subscribe. It means a lot to me. We're at 560, 570 something subs and rising, and that's really cool, and I appreciate it a lot. So thank you so much for watching. I have a couple more requests queued still, so if you guys want to request more mons, do it. I'm almost out of requests, so keep them coming. I'm gonna get some other videos up, some other kinds of videos. I'm not sure. If you want to see certain kind of videos, like things, I don't really know, suggest stuff, you know, I'll probably do a lot of them. And so I have a couple of ideas in mind, but nothing set in stone just yet. So anyway, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.